Well, everyone, the list of cruiser bikes that I'm riding keeps going up. Even though this is more like a scrambler kind of a look, it does ride like a cruiser. So today we're going to be doing some comparisons between the Royal Enfield Bear 650 and bikes like the Vulcan 650S from Kawasaki, the Honda Rebel 1100, the Moto Guzzi V7 Sport. All of those bikes are absolutely amazing, and I really recommend those types of bikes. So how does the Bear 650 stack up? Well, let's jump on and let's find out. Yeah, it's funny, even though this bike has got these kind of like off-road looking tyres, the majority of the riding you're going to be doing on this and what it's mainly suited for is actually street riding. And I mean, I did do a little bit of off-roading just up and down this road here, and it was fairly capable. But yeah, an off-roader is a better bike. Even like an adventure bike would probably be a better choice to go off-roading with than something like this. I mean, then again though, I mean, when these bikes have got Himalayan in the title, you kind of expect it to be a bit of an off-road warrior. But yeah, I don't know, to be honest. That's quite a tough one, because I'm not really an off-road rider. I've got to get on that, you know. I've got to do a bit of off-roading so I can kind of get a better idea of how capable these bikes are off-road. But yeah, like I said, this is mainly a street riding motorcycle with maybe some off-roading capabilities. I mean, you can turn off the rear wheel ABS. So you could probably do some real spin-ups. You could do a bit of a power slide on some dirt roads, which would be pretty cool. But again, yeah, not something that I've ever had the privilege of doing so far. One day we'll get there, you guys. Don't worry. One day we'll get there. But even so, I mean, that's funny, because this is like a cruiser bike like riding experience or riding position, which has got some off-road capabilities, whereas all the other off-roaders I've ridden don't. They can't do any off-roading at all. I'd love to see the Vulcan 650 off-road. That'd be funny. All the V7 Sport. But this bike is one big disadvantage here, where it is an A2 motorcycle. It's been built for A2. It peaks at 46 horsepower, or 46.5 horsepower, something like that. So yeah, not the most powerful thing in the world. And unfortunately, when it comes to cruisers, most of the bikes that I've ridden have not been A2 bikes. They're full license holder bikes, you know. Mid-tier to advanced level bikes, like the Rebel, for example. That's a pretty top tier bike, you guys, and it's awesome. Arguably the best cruiser I've ever had the pleasure of riding. It's very, very good. If you're looking to buy a cruiser but you want something that you know is going to be reliable, you know you want something Japanese, well, the Honda Rebel 1100 is definitely one of those bikes that I'd heavily recommend. And so would be the Vulcan 650, the Vulcan S from Kawasaki. Again, Kawasaki have been making those engines for such a long time now. They're proven engines. They've got loads going for them, buckets of torque, and a nice little bit of top end horsepower as well. But you're getting that real laid back riding position, which I absolutely love. If you want a proper cruiser like riding experience, the Vulcan S is probably the one. But if you want something that's a bit more performance oriented, then yeah, the Vulcan is probably the bike for you. But I mean, despite that, you guys, and no matter where this bike comes in the list today, I don't want to take anything away from it. This is still a very, very good bike, very, very fun. And as I kind of had mentioned in previous videos, for A2, This bike is absolutely perfect. It's producing so much torque for A2. Not a crazy amount of horsepower, but a nice amount of horsepower. And I mean, the biggest thing I let it down is the RPMs. But again, not really a big deal for A2. Not a big deal at all. Still an ultra fun bike, and well worth it, to be honest. I think this bike's got a lot going for it, especially because of that TFT display. It's a very modern bike, especially when you look at other cruisers on the market. Most of them do not have a display that's as good as this, and it's got Android Auto functionality as well. That's wicked. That's such a neat feature. But in terms of the riding experience, you guys, as fun as this motorcycle is, it's not quite up there with any of the other bikes that I've mentioned today. These are all bikes that I've done ride reviews on. Check out our ride review playlist if you want to get a better idea of what I'm talking about. But its nearest competition has got to be the Vulcan 650S. Alright, it's basically running the same displacement. I mean, this is a 648cc, whereas the Vulcan S is a 649cc parallel twin. But yeah, both parallel twins, both torquey, but the Vulcan S has just got more of what this bike has. The features aren't that great, to be brutally honest. The features on the Vulcan 650 haven't been updated in probably 10 years. When it comes to riding experience, you guys, which is one of those things that I care about most when it comes to bikes, the Vulcan, it's better than this bike in a lot of ways. But then again, if you don't like that laid back riding position, well, the Vulcan's probably not going to be for you. Something like this is probably going to be more your speed, or maybe even the V7 Sport is going to be more of what you want. So, okay, I think the best comparison here, you know, I mentioned a few cruisers there, but the best comparison I think we've got today, because I mean, even though this does represent more of a scrambler kind of class of bike, it does ride like a cruiser. But I haven't ridden any other scramblers, you guys. It's my first one. Alright, so I'm comparing it to the closest thing that I've ridden, and that's probably the V7 Sport from Moto Guzzi. They share a lot in common as well. I mean, this is a parallel twin. The Moto Guzzi V7 is a V-twin, a transverse V-twin. It's a much bigger bike. It's like a 776cc V-twin. So yeah, about 100cc of displacement more. But they're both air-cooled, or oil-cooled. I mean, I don't know actually, is the V7 oil cooled? It might not be actually, I can't remember. This one definitely is an oil cooled motorcycle. It's got an oil cooler in there, just strapped to the front of it. But yeah, the rest of it is air cooled. But even then, you guys, when we make that comparison, the V7, again, not A2, you guys. The V7 is not A2. The V7 Sport is not an A2 level motorcycle. I think you can restrict it. But again, that bike is better in quite a few ways. The dashboard isn't as good. Again, this is the thing that this bike has got going for it, is the dashboard. This display is wicked. One of the best displays on the market right now. Full stop. Not just for A2, for any class of motorcycle. It's got a really neat display. But that's about it, really. The V7 Sport is better in near enough every way. The riding experience is nicer, the torque is nicer, it's got a little bit more top end horsepower than this bike does. It's got more charm to it. This bike's got a lot of charm as well, don't get me wrong, but the V7 Sport It just has something more about it that this bike doesn't. So unfortunately, you guys, this bike, out of all the bikes that I've mentioned today, is going to come in at the bottom of the list. Even if we compare it to some adventure bikes as well that I've ridden, this is coming at the bottom of the list as well. But again, I don't want that to be a downer. The last thing I want, you guys, is for this to be a downer on anyone watching, because this is still a fantastic motorcycle, and especially if you are an A2 rider, you love what this bike looks like, and I don't know, maybe want a little bit of off-roading capability. Well, there aren't many bikes that are this retro that have got a little bit of off-roading that they can do as well. You never know, this bike might be actually quite good at off-roading. I don't know, maybe you guys can let me know down in the comment section below, anyone who has had an opportunity to off-road one of these things. But like I said, most of the riding that you're going to be doing is going to be road riding anyway. At least the audience that this bike is somewhat catering for, they're going to be mostly on-road riders as opposed to off-road. But nonetheless, this is really good. I mean, the biggest kind of pro that it's got going for it is its price. Compared to the other bikes that I mentioned, the only one really that might be a little bit cheaper from new anyway is the Vulcan 650. But I wouldn't buy a Vulcan 650 new, because the bikes, they haven't changed, like I said, in 10 years. So I'd buy one that's at least 5 years old, maybe even a little bit older than that. And you know, you could pick them up for 3 to 4 grand all day long. But from new, this is the most competitive. Alright, you're looking at 6.5 grand on the road. And when you compare that to the V7 Sport, that's about 10 grand. 9 to 10 grand. When you're looking at the Vulcan S650, I mean, yeah, you're looking between 5, 6, 7 grand, I think, from new. When you're looking at the Honda Rebel, you're looking at well, more in the region of 11,000–12,000 pounds, I think, if I remember off the top of my head. It might be sub 10, I don't know. Woo! But this bike leans over better. That's another pro that it's got. It leans over better than any of the other bikes that I've mentioned today. Apart from maybe the V7 Sport, it leans over just as much as this bike does, and loves to lean. Ah, man. But that's the thing, you guys, the pros to this bike are somewhat limited. There's a lot of really good things to say about this bike, but let's get into this lane here. Yeah, there's a lot of things to love about this bike, but when you are comparing this to other bikes have either got more of what this bike has, or they simply have something else that adds to the attraction. Whether if that's the way it looks, whether if that's the performance, whether that's the tech package. But still, I know that there are riders out there, they wouldn't buy anything but this. This is the kind of look that they want. This is everything that they want in a motorcycle. They want that retro look. And there aren't many manufacturers, you guys, that do it better. That retro look, that retro styling, there aren't many manufacturers that do it better than Royal Enfield or Moto Guzzi. That's the thing. The Vulcan 650, like, yeah, sure, it's got that cruiser look to it, but it looks ultra modern. So does the Rebel. The Rebel looks ultra modern as well. So they kind of look retro, but they're not. They're like modern retro, whereas this actually looks like classic. This actually looks like it dropped out in the 1970s. And you don't get that with many bikes these days, you guys. You really don't. You guys, as our time comes to a close on the Royal Enfield Bear 650, I've got to say, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's an awesome bike for what it represents and for what it is. I think it's a great bike. Genuinely, it's got buckets of torque. It's got a nice amount of top end horsepower. Gosh, blimey, it's a circus here today. And as a city bike as well, an urban, suburban, street fighting bike, can't get much better than this, to be honest. Yeah, man. What a motorcycle it's been, and even though it's not a motorcycle that I would buy, I understand why there are people out there that would only buy this. Woohoo! Oh man. Yeah, I'm gonna miss this bike. I really am. That's the thing, it's so conflicting in my heart, you guys, because as much as I really like this bike and as much as I really appreciate it, it still has to come at the bottom of the list for me. Despite what I've said today on this video, I don't want it to put you off buying one, because in all the ways that matter, this bike is really good. It's amazing. Especially if you're an A2 rider, or maybe someone who, yeah, has done has done direct access, full motorcycle license. This is a great entry bike into this kind of displacement. And it's, in a lot of ways, it's perfect. I mean, it's been quite a warm day today. It's been a little bit overcast, but it has been quite warm. And this oil-cooled engine, this air-cooled engine, really hasn't given me too much trouble either, to be honest with you. But look, you guys, this is an enthusiast level bike. Alright, if this is the kind of bike that you really like, well, nothing that I'm going to say today is going to change your mind, and that's not the point. This really does suit a very specific type of rider. It's just not me. But that doesn't take anything away from this bike, honestly. It's still great, even for someone like me. It's still great. Anyway, everybody, thank you ever so much for joining us on our final video of the Royal Enfield 2025 Royal Enfield Bear 650. It's been one hell of a ride. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I hope you've enjoyed it as well, you guys. Thank you ever so much for joining us today. If you've enjoyed it, please go ahead, leave that like, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell, and let me know down in the comment section what you think about this motorcycle right here. I've got the luxury of being able to compare bikes, alright? A lot of people don't. So please just keep that in mind, you guys, when you are dropping a comment. But thanks again. You take care, you ride safe. We'll catch you all in the next video. Have a good one.